brought to you by our friends at booking.com. We are asking you for your cricketing wish list, your favorite places to play, to watch, to tour to, and what tournament from the past you would have liked to play in. So now we have our guests here and we can start the party with your input. Where was your favorite venue to play at, Ian Smith?
Well, I was most successful. I had my best days at home, really. My favourite ground in New Zealand was the Basin Reserve, but I never really did magnificent things there. We had some good wins there. I scored a couple of test hundreds at Eden Park, which will always live long in my memory. Of course, they were the only two I got, so I did pretty well there. But I love travelling around the world to play cricket and absorbing those grounds that I'd heard about as a kid and to be part of them. And fortunately, I was a part of a lot of them, Elma, before they changed shape or changed dimension or changed in terms of what they looked like, how big they were, the vastness of the MCG. The most amazing feeling you have when you walk down those steps to walk up to bat at Lords and someone mentions your name and there's some applause, polite applause for you, and they applaud you even if you get ignored. I mean, that's the beauty there. But playing cricket in India, Eden Gardens, packed house at Eden Gardens, how do you match atmosphere like that? And I was lucky to play in Pakistan as well, in Lahore, interesting places, Karachi there. And a lot of players, sadly, will have gone through their career and not had that opportunity for various reasons that are simply not cricketing reasons. And that's a great shame. So look, I could list any number, then ask me to put one on it. Lords.
Harsha Bhogle, you are one of the most well-travelled cricket commentators of the current crop. So when we ask you where your favourite place is to commentate, is it at home? Because I do know that you enjoy a bit of travel.
I don't mind the travel at all, actually. It gives you all the memories. The newer grounds in India have better commentary positions, more comfortable positions, whether it's in Hyderabad or Visakhapatnam or Ranchi, the new Wankhede Stadium. They're more comfortable grounds, more comfortable commentary box as well. So they're all right. But typically the newer stadiums have media boxes that have been well made. But before you go back to when the boxes were made, I'll tell you where the best view came from. It came from before Trent Bridge started growing higher and higher, and it came at Port Elizabeth. You're right on top of the action, aren't you, in Port Elizabeth, Elma? I've never been at a ground where you get the feeling you're sitting on top of the side screen there. So that was one ground I remember. For different reasons, I remember Dunedin because it was the coldest I've ever been, ever. I did commentary with someone's wicket-keeping gloves on. It was that cold. Can you imagine an Indian going up to Dunedin? So I actually, in the 92 World Cup, I was doing commentary with Jeremy Coney with wicket-keeping gloves on just to stay warm. So the newer grounds in India, yes, very good. But generally these days, the commentary boxes are very good. Nothing like when I started off as a kid doing rugby, where you had a bamboo ladder in between the crowd. And if you made a mistake, they looked up to you and told you what they thought of you. So it's a lot easier now.
So the great thing about professional cricket and being a commentator on this circuit is that you get to go to places like the Caribbean for work. What's your favorite country to tour to, Ian Smith?
Well, one of my most memorable tours was actually to the West Indies. And the reason why is because it was probably the hardest 2 or 3 months of cricket I've ever had in my life because of the daunting task of taking on the West Indies side then, but in particular the fast bowling quartet that they had, which was so strong. And so that was, to get through that, we were beaten soundly in the one day as 5-0. We lost the Test Series 2-0, but it was the hardest cricket. I'll never forget that. Australia, I love Australia because everything it's on a platter for you. They make it so easy for you to tour there. The facilities are good, but the grounds generally have great atmosphere, and then you go to India and you experience a whole different culture about life as a player. It teaches you so much. If you just don't close your mind and think of yourself as a cricketer the whole time and open it up to the fact that you've got so much to learn about these places. It's so much more enriching. And there's nothing like touring England, not just the test grounds, but the county grounds, the character of the county grounds. You go to Canterbury and play with a tree in the middle of the ground. And then you've got the slope at Lords, you've got the slope at Sussex. You get all those beautiful little idiosyncrasies that all those wonderful grounds possessed back in those days before they changed a wee bit. Look, I remember so many of them. It's almost impossible to drag a country out, but I look forward all the time to challenging Australia. It didn't come off on top very often, but that for most New Zealand sportsmen, because they're our neighbour, our big brother, is the biggest challenge that we have.
Have you got a favourite country to tour to, Harsha?
Yes, I did, because good things happen to my career every time I went there. I loved going to Australia. England's great because there's no flights, and you're never too far from a park. You walk a lot. I like countries where you can walk a lot. But I just love the whole atmosphere for cricket in Australia. They come hard at you. You're allowed to have strong opinions. I made a lot of friends there. Lovely grounds, big grounds. If you can win in Australia, nothing like it. That doesn't happen too often with Indian teams. Happened recently, but yes. In New Zealand, one ground which I found difficult to work on because it was so scenic was Queenstown. Queenstown and Dharamshala, to me, are the two prettiest cricket grounds. But you go to Queenstown and you're just looking around everywhere and going, wow, this is some place. And then you realize, sorry, I've got to actually talk cricket too.
Focus. Now,
just one more to Elmer. One more favourite ground for me is any ground where I can commentate the All Blacks beating the Springboks. Any ground.
Of course you were just going to throw that in there. You wouldn't let me just live it down just for a moment. Which ICC tournament would you choose to play again, or would you have most liked to play in? Because of the vibe at the tournament, the place it was hosted, perhaps what went down. Harsha, let's start with you.
Easy one. Any match, because I haven't played any, but I would have loved to be part of the adventure of the first T20 World Cup in South Africa. I mean, I saw the adventure from outside the boundary rope and I enjoyed the world sort of marching into the unknown with optimism. But I would have liked to have been part of that playing squad. There's always a sense of adventure, isn't there? 1932 Indian team goes to England. Wow, what a feeling it must have been. The 83 World Cup, yes, but that 2007, because it started a revolution in our game.
Smithy?
Yeah, I'm a bit with Harsha though. I never played against South Africa in South Africa. I only actually was able to play against them once in the 1992 World Cup, of course, because they weren't able to play it during most of my career. So I would like to have gone there as a player and to experience the competitiveness. Also, some wonderful grounds and facilities there. And to be honest, I would have liked to have been a part of a team playing there. I think that's really, really good. I mean, I think I played in 3 World Cups and I've commentated about 7. And my favourite one, Elmer, I can honestly look at you straight between the eyes and say my favourite one will be the next one. And I hope it's soon.
So your homework this week is to get stuck in and send us your input on the booking.com cricketing wish list questions. Where would you want to play, watch, tour to, and which ICC tournament is it that you'd love to go back in time and go play in if you had the ability? Let us know on social media. Thank you so much to our phenomenal guests on Cricket Inside Out this week, Mr. Ian Smith and Harsha Bhogle.